Hey there, beautiful Earth Angels. Elvia here, and welcome to August. I'm filming this outside because, as my mother would say, it's hot as blazes. Oh my God. It's been a hot summer, and I know a lot of people have been experiencing severe weather, and just prayers for all that our Earth is going through and those who are struggling the most. And prayers, as I'm saying that, I'm thinking prayers for those of us who are able to hold the space for those who are suffering and struggling more than perhaps you are. Actually, two things before we get to the reading for this month. The first one I'm going to talk about is related to that, because I want to share at the beginning of these is that this is a time where we're really called to be strong in faith, strong in spirit, strong in self-care, and just loving ourselves so that we can be present for all those who need us in the world. And so that's kind of a theme I'm thinking may go forward, but what I want to start with is really place and the energy of a place. I was shopping for a mattress in a town about a half an hour from where we live in Massachusetts last week. And Peter and I went to check it out first, and the salesperson was just, the store was empty, and the salesperson was just really struggling. Definitely sales is not her strength, but, lovely woman. And, it was just a strange experience, and I went back the next day and bought the mattress. The woman was there, and she was still struggling, and it's a hard world to feel whole and confident and present in. And so it made me realize that the Whole Foods that's next door has always felt weird. Like every time I go into it, it's just the people are cranky, the flow of it's strange. And Peter and I have talked about this before, because there's another place that location where they built, and the energy doesn't feel good. And what I want to emphasize is that energy, the earth has spirit. It has its own field of energy. It has portals, it has ley lines, it has spirit. And when things are built without permission from the land spirits, when things are developed without consciousness of what is actually happening, I think it can be very disruptive to the energy, and that carries forward into however many years later it is that this little plaza, and I think it affects the people there. And so it's just really awareness, paying attention to the earth spirits, and paying attention to where you feel at peace, and cultivating that. Because energy is, human design has this whole thing that the open identity, the open G, space, place is really important. I think that's true for everyone, but especially for those with an undefined or open identity center. I have one, and so I'm very sensitive to the location that I'm in. And a place can either feel right or not at all, or, obviously somewhere in between that. But as we stay strong and focus on what it takes to keep our strength as we navigate this wild world, really important to make sure that you're feeding yourself by being in places and spaces that feel good, number one. And number two, corollary to that, is just being respectful. We talked about this, I think it was last month, being respectful of the earth that you're in. And we always, this may be the last video that I record at this property, not sure yet, maybe not sure when we're moving, but anyway, Peter and I always ask the land spirits, do I have permission to cut this tree down? Do I have permission to plant this here? And not all of us are able to do that, and that's totally cool. So be gentle with it, but just be aware that the earth has its own needs, its own spirit, and its own energetic fields. So there's that. The second thing, this is a quick one, totally unrelated, but it has to do with card pulling, is always pay attention to what happens when you're pulling the cards, what's happening in your surroundings, what's happening with the deck itself. I was using this deck, the Star Tarot, for my morning card pick this morning. And after I pulled my card, I looked at the bottom of the box, and there were 2 cards stuck at the bottom of the box. And the first one was the Star. And without going into too much detail, the Star is actually related to AngelsTeach last year, but it's about hope, it's about prayers, it's about intuition, and then so it feels like that's a message about AngelsTeach, sort of where she's been, and then underneath it was the High Priestess. I was thinking, oh God, please don't be the Tower, but it was the High Priestess, and it really felt like a message to me of, this is where you have been, this is where you're going. So just have faith in that, and faith in the process. So, and the fact that they were stuck in the bottom of the box is just an indication that it's work, and that it's not only work, but it's not time to experience the full expression of that just yet. But so anyway, I was just guided to mention that, because those weird things that happen while you're picking cards, things that fall out, things that are not where you expect them to be, pay attention to that, because it's so often a part of the message for you. Okay, on with the show. I invite you to choose number 1, number 2, number 3. We're going to be using the Elemental Oracle by Stacey Demarco this month. I haven't actually used this deck in a while. I always love her work. I don't know, it was on my shelf, called to me this morning, and so this is what we're using. So for those of you who chose number 1, I'm asking the angels if there's a theme. Not telling me, not as of yet. We'll see if the 3 cards together end up showing us a pattern. This is interesting. It's actually the last, I'm just going through the deck, and it's actually the last card. It took a while to get there, but so that's sort of interesting, speaking of how the cards present. Animals, companionship. It's Frida Kahlo. Or it certainly looks inspired by Frida Kahlo, who I've been studying in astrology, so that's kind of interesting. Yeah. So I'm hearing creation, I'm hearing companionship, which is on the card itself, which is probably why it was in my consciousness. But recognizing your partnership with the animal spirit is an obvious expression and message from this card. There's so much in it, and I think that's part of the message, is recognizing that a lot of us have pets, cats, dogs, birds, and I think the message is that all of the animal kingdom, queendom, are our partners on this earth, are our companions. I feel like there's a deeper message here, which I'm feeling that because this kangaroo is like looking super wise and like, go deeper, go deeper. I feel that that's what she's saying. So let's see as I go deeper into this. It's recognizing the oneness. Like, it's hard to see where she ends and the animals begin. And yeah, okay, that's what this is. The deeper message is the oneness, and that everything that we do affects the greater whole, related to what I was saying before about the earth spirits, is that every decision that we make impacts and affects everything around us, not just the animals, but humans are animals too, but just the whole ecosystem, everything. And yeah, so I keep hearing oneness over and over again, and the creation of oneness. Oneness is already created, but just allowing that to be your experience. I have to say, I'm like, having this little side conversation with the angels, like, seriously, isn't there a little more to this? Like, oneness, just knowing that we are part of this whole ecosystem is important. And but again, I'm sort of like, don't you got more? And I'm looking at the woman's mouth, and she's like, are you gonna get it? That's what I feel like she's expressing as I tune into that part of the message. Aren't you gonna get it? That's enough. That's important. That's a lot when you really think about it. So yeah, for those of you who chose number 1, this is about recognizing that the whole ecosystem, you are part of that. You are part of the fabric, and every decision that you make is something that impacts all that is around you. Yes, and that feels complete. All right. For those of you who chose number 2, let's see what the angels have in store for you. Again, the end. Okay, there is a theme. It's going to see what happens with that. I'm curious. Fascinating. Wildness, electricity. Woof! Dance. Sing, be yourself, be alive. Allow spirit to rock you, to move you, to guide you, to express through you. You know, this is about allowing your spark, allowing that spirit, and the wind just, I don't know if you noticed my hair, but the wind just went, whoosh, like allow the spirit to animate you. Yes, this feels like creation. I was having a conversation with our oldest child yesterday, and just saying that, you know, the world is exhausting. And, you know, I think that in the spirit of staying strong, you know, it's important to rest and to honor where your energy is at. And our oldest was like, well, I'm feeling more animated to, you know, stand up and speak out. And I applaud that, you know, and that's where they're at. It's not where I'm at right now. And a lot of that's just because of what we have going on with moving and all that. But, you know, honor where you're at and stay connected. This is like, there's no, see if I can put this into words. There's guidance when we listen quietly, and there's guidance when we just open to the wholeness of it, the fullness of it, the power that it has to animate us. And that happens when we allow the spark to ignite and follow that passion, that little, not necessarily little, but that urging, that nudge, you know. So maybe, perhaps, just thinking, you had this glimmer of, you know, maybe I should do a little dancing in the kitchen this morning. And then you kind of like, nah, don't feel like it, and you don't do it. Or maybe I should write in my journal, or maybe I should start doing whatever, you know. But then you sort of put it away because other forces, you know, become too overwhelming or whatever. You just sort of step away from it. And this is, once you start to follow that spark, you are animated, you are ignited, you come alive. And I think that's what I really want to emphasize here, is that you come alive. Little honk over there in the background, not sure if you heard it, but it was like, yes, that, you know. And it's like with this video this morning, Peter came downstairs, and I'm like, I can't spend a lot of time with you right now, because we usually hang out in the morning and have tea and coffee. I'm like, the muse is here, the spark is here, I need to record this now. And he gets it, he totally gets it. But that's what this is about. Allow the sparks to animate you when those nudges are there. For those of you who chose number 3, very curious if the angels choose the last card again. It's always fun playing. Oh, no. It's not the last card. That's interesting. Magic. Alchemy. Yes. You have it in your hands. You know, I think so many times there's a little angel wing in there too. See that? So many times we feel powerless. We feel like there's nothing we can do to change the circumstances, that we are stuck in the physical and can't create around that. We can't shift it. And it's not true. And I know I've been stuck in that space too. So, you know, I get that's part of the human experience, I think, for most of us. But this is just a reminder that you have the magic in your hands, that you can create change, that you can shift beyond whatever reality it is that you're struggling with. I shared this with the Living with the Angels members recently, and I was having a moment. There was something in the news that just kind of took me sideways, and I was holding a book in my hand, and I was like, okay, angels, what can I do about this to change the reality of what I'm experiencing right now? And so I was like, okay, let's do a little book dowsing, you know, where you just flip through the page, not looking, the pages of the book, not looking. So angels had me stop at this certain page, and then without looking, I ran my hand down the page and they said stop. And this is like a 300-page book. And they had me stop, and I looked at the word, and it was prayers. And this was just a novel. This wasn't like a religious or spiritual book. This was just a novel. And that, I mean, book dowsing is always super cool. And, you know, as are a lot of our tools, you know, just pendulum dowsing, body dowsing, just, you know, magic. These things that we do, the card picking, all of it, the coming alive with spirit is all magic, and it's all shifting and creating the reality that we are choosing in that moment. And that was an illustration to me of how powerful our angels are, how powerful source, spirit is to channel that experience through me. And we all have that in us in different ways, of course, because we're all wired and built differently, but we all have access to the magic, to the power, to the ability to create change. Alchemy. So if you chose number 3, my sense is that maybe you've forgotten that, lost touch, just need a reminder, a little nudge. Use prayers, use your tools, use your magic. Know how powerful you are. So that is a wrap for our readings for the month of August 2025. And I asked the angels what the last card for readings number 1 and 2 was about, and they said, nothing, we were just playing. So angels are so good at helping us to rise up, to be happy, to be in joy, comforting, and also, yes, they make us laugh. So that's pretty cool. So with that, remember that you are strong, you are wise, you are bold, you are magic, you are love. So much love and blessings to you. Be well. See you next month. Bye for now.